Hi, now let's move on to the last subtopic in Chapter 2. Chapter 2.4 Values in the Workplace. Values are stable evaluative beliefs that guide our preferences for outcomes or courses of action in a variety of situations. They are perceptions about what is good or bad, right or wrong. Values tell us what we ought to do. They serve as a moral compass that directs our motivation and, potentially, our decisions and actions. They also provide justification for past decisions and behavior. People arrange values into hierarchy of preferences called a value system. Some individuals value new challenges more than they value conformity. Others value generosity more than frugality. Each person's unique value system is developed and reinforced through socialization from parents, religious institutions, friends, personal experiences, and the society in which he or she lives. The values exist only within individuals is called personal values. However, groups of people might hold the same or similar values, thus it is a shared values in a team, department, organization, profession, or entire society. In addition, the values shared by people throughout an organization is known as organizational values. Lastly, the cultural values refer to the values shared across a society. Values and personality traits are related to each other, but the two concepts differ in a few ways. The most noticeable distinction is that values are evaluative, they tell us what we ought to do, whereas personality traits describe what we naturally tend to do. A second distinction is that personality traits have minimal conflict with each other, whereas some values are opposed to other values. For example, someone who values excitement and challenge would have difficulty also valuing stability and moderation. Third, although personality and values are both partly determined by heredity, values are influenced more by socialization, whereas heredity has a stronger influence on an individual's personality traits. Now, let's look on the types of value in Schwartz's value theory. By far, the most widely accepted model of personal values is Schwartz's values circumplex, developed and tested by social psychologist Shalom Schwartz and his colleagues. This model clusters values into 10 broad values categories that are organized into the circular model. The 10 categories include universalism, benevolence, tradition, conformity, security, power, achievement, hedonism, stimulation, and self-direction. Each category is a cluster of more specific values. For example, conformity includes the specific values of politeness, honoring parents, self-discipline, and obedience. These 10 broad values categories are further clustered into 4 quadrants. One quadrant, called openness to change, refers to the extent to which a person is motivated to pursue innovative ways. This quadrant includes the value categories of self-direction, stimulation, and hedonism. The opposing quadrant is conservation, which is the extent to which a person is motivated to preserve the status quo. The conservation quadrant includes the value categories of conformity, security, and tradition. The third quadrant in Schwartz's circumplex model, called self-enhancement, refers to how much a person is motivated by self-interest. This quadrant includes the values categories of achievement, power, and hedonism. The opposite of self-enhancement is self-transcendence, which refers to motivation to promote the welfare of others and nature. Self-transcendence includes the value categories of benevolence and universalism, which is concern for the welfare of all people and nature. Personal values influence decisions and behavior in various ways. First, values directly motivate our actions by shaping the relative attractiveness, valence, of the choices available. In other words, we experience more positive feelings toward alternatives that are aligned with our most important values. Second, values indirectly motivate behavior by framing our perceptions of reality. Specifically, values influence whether we notice something as well as how we interpret it. Our decisions and actions are affected by how we perceive those situations. Third, we are motivated to act consistently with our self-concept and public self-presentation. If we have a self-view and public image that values achievement, then we try to ensure that our behavior is consistent with that value. This consistency is particularly important for behaviors that more clearly depict a specific underlying value. There are reasons for the disconnection between personal values and individual behavior, which are the situation, strong counter-motivational forces, and don't actively think about the values. Values tell us what is right or wrong and what we ought to do. This evaluative characteristic affects how comfortable we are with specific organizations and individuals. The key concept here is values congruence, which refers to how similar a person's values hierarchy is to the values hierarchy of another entity, such as the employee's team or organization. An employee's values congruence with team members increases the team's cohesion and performance. Congruence with the organization's values tends to increase the employee's job satisfaction, loyalty, and organizational citizenship, as well as lower stress and turnover. Employees are also more likely to make decisions that are compatible with organizational expectations. That's all for Chapter 2. Thank you for listening, and have a nice day.